Hi everyone, it's Allison. Long time no see again. I know you're gonna get so sick of me talking. Is anybody still watching this channel? Oh, can you hear my cat? It begins. If anyone's still watching, I'm still gonna put some videos out and just see if anything comes back. The reason I haven't posted for so long is because I had a really difficult summer, sort of with illness. I mean, I don't want to say that because it sounds super serious. I actually felt really good most of the summer, with the exception of having a cough that I just couldn't kick for the longest time, twice, once at the beginning of the summer and then once at the end of the summer. And it was just such that I felt fine. I had no other symptoms, but I just couldn't get through a whole sentence without coughing. I just couldn't speak, really. And then I came close to losing my voice entirely. And so it was just not a summer of speaking, just the universe telling me to shut up a little bit. So while I was sick for a lot of the summer, I was able to be active and out there and doing all kinds of things. So I was pretty lucky as sicknesses go. And it's pretty much fine. I might cough once or twice during this video. If so, I apologize. But I've missed you. I've missed you, and I've missed doing this, and I got lots of great ideas. So it's a busy time of year for me. Oh, see, here we go. Pardon me. It's a busy time of year, but I do hope to get back and start making more videos. I got lots of things to talk about, so I'm excited. So what I thought I'd talk about today is, I don't even know if I use the right terminology. So if my title is confusing to you, or this isn't what you wanted, feel free to just click on away. But it's my idea of what I'm calling Magpie Decks, which might be a term like on Tarot YouTube, and maybe it's not, and it's actually not fitting. But I'm talking about decks where there are either multiple artists involved or multiple aesthetics involved. And initially, I was a real purist. When I started doing tarot, I didn't even like collage decks. And that's something that I would say has done a total 180 for me. Now I really like a collage deck. I have a number of some I don't. And maybe I'll do a collage deck video, actually, talking about why I like my different collage decks and what style I really like. But I just find myself really drawn to it now. And I didn't always used to be. So I'm not really going to talk about collage decks today, but when I talk about these Magpie decks, I'm really talking about either collaborative decks with different artists, or I'm going to talk about the Allie Tarot today, and my sort of journey with the Allie Tarot. So I guess I'm going to talk a little bit about the history. The very first, and I think the very only collaborative deck beside the Allie, I'm pointing to it like you can see it. I'm going to bring it out soon. But besides the Allie Tarot is this tarot deck called the Elora Tarot. And I actually made, I think, an Everything I Learned From about the Elora Tarot. It's really special to me. It's all banged up because I had a kitten when I first got it who chewed this cover off. It's an interesting box, actually. I don't have another one like it. It's almost like a holder for recipes. I mean, so you open it, it's got a Velcro thing, the glue's coming off of it, and then the cards sit in that way. The cards are massive. Like, this is my hand, and the cards, and I have big hands, so they are hard to work with just in terms of space and shuffling. I can shuffle them because I got big hands, but if you had small hands, it'd be a real issue. And this deck is very special to me because this Elora is in Ontario, and it's not that far away from where I live. Like, regionally, it's close. I don't live in Elora, but it wouldn't be unreasonable to go and spend a day there. And it's like a lovely, quaint, beautiful town on the river. It's got some really beautiful geographic elements to it. The Elora Gorge is a thing where there's this giant sort of limestone rocks over a river. It's very nice. So when I saw this at a music festival, this deck, I was like, oh, it's a local tarot deck. I really want to get it and support. So it was put together by an artist who went to all these other artists in Elora and said, would you like to collaborate some artwork for a tarot deck? So it is beautiful to look at and interesting. Here's the Page of Swords, for example. I don't love the borders, but I never take the time to mod decks. I'm just giving up, saying I'm gonna do it one day because I've still never done it, except for like doing black borders with a Sharpie. But I'm reluctant to take off the borders because I don't want to clip off the name of the artist, especially in a collab deck. Like they put them on there, so I don't really want to. And as can see, the styles are totally different. Each artist contributed a few cards to the deck, or I mean, 1 to, I think maybe 3 is the most. And as you can see, it's really, they're all really different. And I think we're going through ones that I actually really like right now. My pile of ones really like. There's ones I really don't love in here. And that's why for me, it's a deck that I will always keep and enjoy looking at. It was really good for me early in my tarot journey because I could think about why I did or didn't like a card based on my understanding. And if I didn't like it, I sort of had to rationalize to myself, like, why don't I like it? Is it this particular art style that doesn't speak to me? Or do I not agree with the interpretation of this card? But it's not great for a great reader for me because I know that a lot of the artists didn't really have any interest in tarot previous to this project. And, you know, some of them did a little bit of research. Some of them, Andrew McGregor's art is in here, and he's done tarot decks of his own. He's a reader out of Toronto. So, like, there are people who legitimately know tarot. But it's everything from the gamut, from someone who's really practiced in it, much more practiced than me. And then right down to actually something really sad, but an artist passed away from illness before she could complete her contribution to the deck. And so they substituted for that card she was going to do with a piece of her previously created artwork, which is lovely. What a gorgeous gesture. I am 100% on board with that. But it doesn't, that's what it is in the deck. It doesn't have any sort of representation, I don't think, really to that card. I think they chose the best they could. But maybe even just knowing that backstory to it doesn't work as well for me. I don't know. Oh my God, though, this 4 of Cups. You can watch my other video about this deck if you're interested. I do love some of the cards in here. I just love. It's one of my all-time favorite 4 of Cups. I'll just speak about it sort of briefly. But the patterns are actually the same on either side, right? We've got the 3 smaller cups and then the 4 bigger cups. So this grass is greener on the other side is what you think, but it really isn't. And then the cups even all have the same patterns between the 3 on one side and the 1 on the other. Like, it's just so good. Some of these are really fantastic. But it's not really a reader for me. I don't really reach for it for that. They have a lot of sort of local things in there, which is fun to look at. If you go to Elora for a day, I've gone there and then taken the deck and then looked at sort of different things. But it didn't really work for me as a reading deck of collaborative artists, as much as I love it and appreciate it. And I think you can actually, if you are into this, you can actually still get it online. I think it's several years old now. I wonder, this is the little white book. So you can see it's sort of not handmade, but so not that formal. Each card has an artist statement, which is really cool. Some of them are more involved than others. Oh, there's not a copyright, I don't think. Rats. At least 8 or 9 years, I'm going to say. Probably more like 10 or 11, I think. But anyway, I think you can still get it if that interests you. But it wasn't floating my boat in the reading department. And then the Allie Tarot. That was probably super loud. I'm sorry. I haven't recorded for so long. I forget about my recording etiquette. Sorry if I just blew your eardrums out. So the Allie Tarot, is that what it's even called? Am I feeling now? Yeah, the Allie Tarot. I had this like weird paranoia. I was saying the wrong thing. So I got the whole thing. I was a Kickstarter backer. I think it might be the most backed deck ever on Kickstarter. I'm just blobbity-blawing. But it was very popular. So I got the wooden box, and then it also comes in this matchbox. I got a reading cloth. That's quite nice. I didn't pull it out for today. I'm packing it up. And then it's this sort of cool match. So they're very well protected. And then I got every single add-on because I was like, why not? The add-ons were a reasonable cost. But if you're not familiar with this, wait, hang on. Yeah, the Allie Men's Tarot Project. So it is a deck comprised of cards from other decks. So this is why I'm calling it like a Magpie deck. And again, maybe everyone's calling it a Magpie deck and I'm like, oh, I'm so original. But like where you piece something together, right? You see something neat and you pull it in. And it has, I just counted with all my extensions, 204 cards. It gets bananas how many cards there are. So I'm going to try and hold up a stack of them. So every card is the same size, thankfully, or to be impossible, is already impossible to manage. And every card has a different back and of course a different front. Now all tarot decks have different fronts, but you can see the style is wildly different. And at the time of those are very cool backs actually. At the time of the Kickstarter, sometimes I don't know what the back and the front is, but that's the back, that's the front. At the time of the Kickstarter, I was into this. Like I looked at the pictures of all the different cards on the table and I was like, I'm ready. I had just started dipping my toe into collage decks. I was like, this is the new me. And I loved I loved the idea that it was like just a collection of cards, like the aesthetic of that and that, nothing matches. And even though not all of the art styles like worked for me, I'm not trying to diss any particular tarot card deck as I do this. This one also doesn't really work for me. It's just like my aesthetic is how could one deck like this with 204 cards from a billion different decks not fit my aesthetics perfectly? Totally understandable. So, I get it. And, 8 of Tentacles. That's pretty funny, actually. So I get this massive deck, and it comes with sort of the main tarot deck, which already had like 9 death cards, which is also very cool. Like, what does death mean in this? And how do you interpret this death card? I'm into it. And the first thing I do is I pick it up, and they are slippery, and they all over my kitchen counter. Luckily, my kitchen counter was clean. The cards are still pristine. They look great. But I find them hard to handle. So that was my first interaction with the cards and my first obstacle. They just all flew out of my hands and I had to go around carefully picking them up. And so that was a bit of a downer. And then I can't make it work for me. I'm so bummed. I was like, I thought it's what I wanted, and everybody was, I think it came from a real place and not just FOMO. Like, when you lay out cards that are different, it looks cool. Even when people lay out spreads and there's tarot and oracle together and maybe like a little tarot tile. I don't have any tarot tiles, but I think they're so cool that Jamie Sawyer makes these amazing tarot tiles. And it looks great. I love it. And I thought this would be it. But I think maybe it's just too much for my little brain to put together all of this and make it mean something. I like looking at them. I feel inspired when I look at them. When I pick them up to do a reading, I just don't want them. It's not what I want. And I've actually made arrangements to pass this on at a very reasonable price to a new home for someone who's really excited to have it. And because it is still available, I will say, like, if this is your jam, you and the rest of the world, because I feel like I'm really the odd one out here. No fault of the creator. It's just not clicking for me personally. And I'll link below. But it happens to be one of the big barriers, of course, in Canada is shipping, and it's not light. So the cost to have it shipped across the border for someone who really wants it, it just didn't feel right for me to hang on to it. I hang on to way too many decks. I've just sold a few. I'm trying to declutter. I find it really hard to get rid of decks. But this one, knowing I could help someone out and just like send something flat rate shipping Canada Post to them in Ontario. Like, I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to do that so they can use it, because I think there's so much cool in here and I'm really bummed. Now, I also, if you were following this Kickstarter, there was a whole batch of lore and backstory, and like there's a whole, I think, Allie Man's Tarot kind of world and narrative, and I didn't get into that at all. I was just busy. I was like, I can't take on another narrative right now. So I have really appreciated it. I thought, oh my God, it's so cool. It spawned this really cool community, I think, where people were also just sending loan cards from, you know, old decks that didn't maybe have all their cards and shipping them out to people, or ones they didn't like, splitting them up, and people were building their own sort of Magpie decks. It's so cool. It's just not going to be part of my journey, the Allie Man's Tarot. And it makes me a little bit sad even to say that, but what matters is that there's a home waiting for it that is going to love it so much. And it is such a monumental project that it doesn't deserve to just sit on my shelf. So you think the story's over? Do you? You think that's the end of it? Wait, how does this work? No. There is another. Which I think is going to work for me. I don't know. I haven't really used it yet. I'm going to report back to you. This is the Green Menagerie Tarot. So this is another Kickstarter that I backed. The difference is that the creator of this deck is a graphic artist, and one creator made the entire selection. So while the cards, I might as well just open up and show you. Look at how beautiful this guidebook is, too. I haven't even cracked it. I just got this last week, just as my voice was still really iffy, and I just took it out of the packaging and I left it basically for this video. Oh, it smells brand new. And this is a deck. So I have not been buying decks. I've been trying to be really good and really intentional, but I had backed this before I made that promise to myself. But I think maybe this is my Magpie deck. Is it technically a Magpie deck? I don't know. One dude made it, and it's all his decisions. But I feel like that'll give me the aesthetic that I want with the unity that I also crave. So every card has the same back, and isn't it gorgeous? The creator's last name is Green. I'm just worried now I'm going to get it wrong. Oh, please tell me you put your name in the book. Did you not? I want to say David. Is that right? Oh, rats. I'm going to link everything below. And I have to say, I think he's still selling this one. Not 100%. The cardstock is lovely, and it doesn't fly out of my hands. It's like a good heavy cardstock, which I really like, kind of rose petally. Some people like that and some people don't. The first one I actually picked up is an image from one of his other decks. So he's done like a playing card, tarot card mashup on Etsy that you can get. Very cool. But I just think it just happens those two both are Waite Smith, but they aren't all. So, for example, oh, come here, you. Rose petal finish, just so I say how much I love it. So you can see he's got, again, there's the playing card mashup there, but with a different one. And there's some like really cool, sweet ones. So all of the faces are still different, but I don't know. I just feel like there's a unity. Look at this one. Stunning. I love the perspective of this one as opposed to being just on the side. And oh, come on. And then we've got, again, more Waite Smith with some cool coloration. So it's very close to the Waite Smith. Maybe that's also why I find it easier to look at, because obviously in a deck like the Allie Man's Tarot, people have, you know, done totally different interpretations, which is super cool and awesome. But with just one card represented, I find it harder to grab onto. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than it just wasn't working for me. Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. Look at her. Look at the King of Wands too. So I just, oh, sorry, I also have to show you this beautiful Ace of Cups. Oh, and this too. So as you can see, I think now they're in order because I looked through them really quickly. Let me find you a couple swords. I just really dig it. Look at this guy. Aw. So yeah, oh, King is a fox, literally. I don't know. I think this is it, guys. I think I found my Magpie deck. I think I did it. I don't know yet because I haven't read with it. Look at you, gorgeous. Look at this Magician. What? Oh, sorry. I have to show you the High Priestess too because it's so neat. Yeah, I think this will work. I think it's got enough unity and enough cohesion while still delivering this really cool sort of thrown together, collected, gathered decks over the years, even though that's not true for me. I just bought it. But it's got that aesthetic that I think I was craving. So what do you think of Magpie decks? Am I calling them the right thing? Are they actually Magpie decks? Do you have a different experience with the Allie Tarot? Because I think most people do. I think this is a really popular deck that people love. And all the add-ons are super cool. I just wish it worked better for me. Oh, this also has matte gilding. As you know, I'm not a gilding fan, but if you're going to gild, like I love matte gilding. It's beautiful. I just do not want a shiny gild. I think it's a really beautiful deck that's been made just really carefully and thoughtfully. So I will report back to you and let you know. I'll link everything in the description, and hopefully things are all still for sale. I'm so sorry. I should have double checked before I made this video. And it's great to see you, and I've missed you, and I'll be back to make more videos soon, cough and voice permitting. Have a great night.